Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to give you a little insight on how I do my meal prep for the week. Today is Wednesday the 21st, and so far this week I've been eating boneless pork chops and steak. One thing I like to do is I pre-cook a lot of food. I seal it and I do a lot of sous vide cooking. It allows me to do things like flank steak. These are 1 pound portions. They're already cooked. All I have to do is kind of warm them up a little bit and give them a sear in a skillet. I also do chicken tenderloin, which these are 8-ounce portions. Everything that you weigh should be raw unless the nutrition information says otherwise. So everything that I eat or I bag up for cooking, I weigh it beforehand, and that way I can more easily track my macros. I've mentioned in other videos, there's things that are going to throw that off, like every cut of meat's not going to have the same amount of fat. But unless you're dealing with something like chicken breast, where it's pretty consistently lean, and I cut off any large pieces of fat that I see, but steak can vary greatly, so you just got to do the best you can with kind of weighing your food and going with what the macros are, and hopefully you buy something where you can get the accurate macro information. I know with Costco, their flank steak has given me, like, when I scan it with MyFitnessPal, I've gotten 3 different nutritional information. So you never know 100% for sure, but you got to do the best you can. So I do my steak in 1 pound portions. I do the chicken tenderloin, and chicken in general I try to do in 8-ounce portions. So what I've set up here is 3 cookie sheets. I have my trusty food scale, and here's what we'll be cooking today. I have Kirkland chicken breast, boneless, skinless. This was about a little over 6.5 pounds of meat. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and give this a quick rinse. I don't like the slimy stuff that's on the chicken. I know you're not supposed to rinse meat. It's, I don't know, whatever, a risk of spreading the germs, but quite honestly, I'll take that risk because I don't like that slimy texture. So I'm gonna rinse off the meat really fast and put it on these cookie sheets, and we'll get ready to season it. Okay guys, so everything is cleaned up. We have all of the meat. Sorry, the lighting kind of takes a minute to adjust here. We have all the meat washed off. Now, like I mentioned before, guys, a lot of people tell you not to wash your meat, and I typically would agree with that. I do sanitize my sink and everything really well after I do that. I just can't stand whatever slime chicken is packaged in. Most of the chicken breast that comes in these packages has like this thicker, I don't know, slime, and it really turns me off, and I just can't deal with it. So pork sometimes has the same thing. I'll rinse that off. You almost never find that with like beef. So when it comes to chicken, which I'm not a huge fan of to begin with, I'm really only eating it because it's lean meat, and that's what I'm looking for right now, since the goal is losing weight. So let me go ahead and show you what I've done with the chicken and what we're gonna season it with. Okay guys, so everything's cleaned up. What I did is I trimmed off like the fat you would typically find along the edge of the chicken breast and sort of like around the edges here. So everything is cleaned up to the best of my abilities. I just used the kitchen shears. You could use a knife and a cutting board. I find it's a little quicker and easier just to use a shear. As for seasoning, guys, this is a Costco buy. I'm sure you could find this somewhere else online. As far as ingredients go, they do not list sugar as an ingredient. So the carbohydrates are listed as 0. I'm sure there is some carbohydrate, as they do have onion and pepper, different peppers in there. But anyway, this is a really good seasoning. I find it to be great on just about everything, preferably chicken and pork. It's not very high in sodium, and since sodium's kind of important on a keto carnivore diet, this is kind of not the right packaging, but this is Himalayan sea salt. I get the huge tub of it from Costco, and then I just refill this. It's more of a usable shaker size. So what I do is I season both sides of the meat. So what I'll do is season this like that, pat it down, and then I'll grab the this stuff here, put a nice liberal coat of this on here. Try to get it even if you can. Not a huge deal, like especially if this is just for you, you're prepping food for yourself. You're the only person that has to like it, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I flip over the meat and do the other side as well. So like you see I'm using quite a bit of salt. With this diet, you really need to get a lot of salt in, so there's no harm in adding a little extra. So salt to your taste preference. And so that's basically what it looks like when it's done. I'm only using aluminum foil for this process because I don't want to have to wash the pan afterwards. I'm just going to basically get these, I'm going to finish doing the rest of them over here, and I'll get these sealed up in the chamber sealer, and then I'll show you my sous vide process. I do have this VacMaster VP 230 chamber sealer. I'll show you how that works. Basically, you put your food in here in the bag. They're pre-made bags, and then you seal it. I'll show you what it looks like. I am not really well prepared for this. I should have set up, like, I don't know, tripods or I don't know, more cameras. I don't know, but anyway, trying to give you guys the best little demonstration of how I prep my chicken. This is, like I said, about 6.5 pounds of chicken. I eat about a pound a day or so. Depends kind of, I play around with it. Each one of these chicken breasts are like anywhere from 6.5 to 12 ounces a piece. So I definitely play with my macros, and usually what I'll do is I kind of like reach my protein goal by adding or subtracting either eggs or shrimp or something else like that. So for the most part, everything here is between about 8 and 10 ounces. So we'll get into that more after we get everything sealed off here. Okay guys, so what we have here is 2 chicken breasts. They're in their pouches. These are 6 by 10 pouches. If I go with anything 6-inch or less, I can fit 2 of them on here with the seal bar, because this is a 12-inch seal bar. So this is basically how the chamber sealer works. You turn it on, it's got a gauge on there, and you just close the top. It's a little loud, but it's not terrible. And this thing goes through about 30 seconds of sealing or drawing the air out of this chamber. Basically, we're just changing the pressure within the chamber. There's no suction going on like a typical like seal saver. It's actually changing the pressure in here, and hopefully you'll be able to see the change. It's sealing right now, and then it'll release the pressure, and you end up with, here we go, really nicely sealed meat. Basically sealed like as if you bought it at a store. So this is why I choose the chamber sealer. It is more of an expensive investment up front, but bags are much cheaper than a food saver. So at the end of the day, if you're using it as much as I do, you're saving money. Okay guys, so everything's sealed up and ready to go into the sous vide bath. Okay guys, so I have a Joule sous vide. I have 3 of them, and I also have an Innova Pro I've yet to play with, but I'm using 2 of these today, and these are some Every, I guess, insulated granite. They're not super insulated, but they're neoprene insulated containers. They come with a rack inside, so there's 6 chicken breasts located in there. And if you've used the Joule before, you know that everything runs off of the Joule app on your phone, which I guess, I don't know how you feel about that. It's kind of up to you. I picked poultry. This looks like it's not gonna zoom in really well. So I go with chicken breast. I go 140 degrees, and I set my time as frozen, as thick as possible. Comes out 2 hours and 25 minutes. I realize that these are not frozen and they're not 1.5 inches thick. One also little sous vide hack. See, the starting temperature is 125 degrees. This was filled with hot water. So some people just fill it with whatever, and I think I save a lot of time by starting with already hot water from my tap. Once this gets to 140 degrees, I can have this set up to auto start. Oh, I think I just canceled this thing. Hold on. Trying to look through the screen here, and all right. So auto start functions set. So basically, as soon as this thing hits 140 degrees, it'll start. And I like to go up to about 2.5 hours. 2 hours and 20 minutes is fine. 2.5 hours is usually what I do. I have the other package out here in the kitchen. I have another sous vide set up in like a spare bathroom, pretty much wherever I can put it, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and load that up, and I'll show you what the results are here in a couple hours. All right, guys, welcome back. The chicken is done sous videing. As I mentioned before, I had said we're gonna do 2.5 hours. To kind of explain that a little better, so here's all the done chicken. So it's 11 portions. They're all varying between about 6.5 ounces to about 12 ounces. And since we're doing raw weight for logging our calories, what we can do is put this on a scale, the whole package. You can take it out of a refrigerator and weigh it, and it's gonna weigh, I think, it should weigh exactly what it weighed when it was raw. So we're not gonna exclude the juices that are inside of the pouch. We're just gonna weigh the whole thing, and that's how we're gonna determine our portion sizes. So what I'm gonna do is, I have a skillet heating up right here. And so my carbon steel skillet's warming up. I have a couple eggs that are gonna go with this meal. But I have this warming up under like a medium heat, and I'm gonna cook my eggs, and then I'm gonna sear a piece of chicken, and I wanna cut into it for you guys just so you can see how tender and juicy this is. With sous vide, you can't replicate sous vide cooking with any other method like baking chicken. 140 degrees, typically they say to cook chicken to 165 degrees, and that's so that you have instant pasteurization of the meat. At 165 degrees, it takes 1 second for this to become pasteurized and safe to eat. With sous vide, what's cool about it is you can alter the texture of this. Chicken breast cooked to 140 degrees has a completely different texture. It's so much juicier, tender. You just can't compare it. It's just so different. But at 140 degrees, you have to hold this piece of chicken for 126 minutes at the internal temperature of 120 or 26 minutes, sorry, at 140 degrees to achieve the same level of pasteurization as if you were to cook this traditionally to 165. So that's the big benefit of going the sous vide route. Plus, like I said, for meal planning, I have 11 portions right here. It's not going to be, for me, 11 meals necessarily, but it's 11 portions, and then however everybody's individual needs will vary, so how you eat, that's completely up to you. But these are pasteurized, they're safe to eat, and I'm gonna make a video here after I sear the meat. I'm gonna cook my eggs. When you sear your meat, I'll make another video sometime, but you wanna make sure to open this up, drain everything, and then take a towel, paper towel, dry it off really good. Since it is really lean, I do add a tiny bit of avocado oil to my pan, and then I'll sear it for about 1 minute on each side. Also, guys, what I do is I have a bacon press here. I put it on top of the meat, basically just to ensure that I get really good contact with the meat and get a complete sear across it. So we'll go ahead and get all that done, and I'll show you what it looks like here in just 1 minute. Okay, guys, so the chicken has a light sear on each side. Like I said, 1 minute on each side. I don't like over-searing my chicken. That kind of defeats the whole benefit of cooking this to 140 degrees, keeping that texture, tenderness, and juiciness that you can really only achieve through sous vide. So this is a butter knife, and as you can tell, this chicken is, if it would focus, whoop, So much for that, huh? So hold on, see if I can get it to focus. Sorry, I suck at this. Super juicy and tender. Like I said, you can cut this with a butter knife. It's not pink at all. You can see it's done all the way through. See if I can get it to focus. It just falls apart. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Man, I don't like chicken, and I love this. This is great. And like I said, this stays good. This stays good even whenever you're eating it cold. So like I said, a lot of times I don't reheat the chicken or sear it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to show you. This stupid zoom thing. Focus. Focus. All right. Anyway, sorry my my vlogging skills are subpar to say the least. Anyway, so that's basically how I meal prep. I like to sous vide a lot of stuff. Most of my protein sources. It's just phenomenal. Especially with chicken. Chicken breast is not my favorite diet food. I don't know if I have a favorite diet food, but chicken breast is low in fat, so it's easy to get your protein in while keeping your calories reasonable. And so it's definitely a good food for dieting. But like I said, you can't achieve the texture any other way than sous vide. And it's really easy meal prepping because it allows me to cook a bunch of food at one time. And then all I got to do is reach in the fridge, grab something and go. You know, especially if you're on the move a lot. It's easy to plan your meals. You know, if you want to have eggs, you can hard boil them or cook your egg whites or whatever your meal prep is. But this definitely makes protein preparation better in a lot of ways and easy to manage. So if you guys have questions, please hit me up in the comments or whatnot. I try to get back to everybody that asks anything. So like I said, sorry about the not so amazing vlogging skills. I'm still trying to learn how this all works and how to you know, do it all. So until next time, guys, maybe I'll do a full day of eating, like what my diet looks like as far as what meals I have, how many meals I have. And that also, like I've mentioned, a lot of my videos, it changes depending on my own personal schedule. There's times I do OMAD, there's times I do 4 meals. It really just depends on time and what I have going on that day. So until next time, guys, take care. Hey guys, just a quick note I wanted to add. When it comes to sous vide cooking, you have time and temperature. Typically the temperature is going to dictate doneness, texture of your meat. Time is going to determine things like pasteurization and tenderness. So I probably did not have to cook this chicken for 2 hours and 25 or 30 minutes. I chose the longest time possible just to make sure I got that pasteurization window of holding it at 140 degrees for 26 minutes for all of the pieces of chicken that were in the water bath. So it's just more for peace of mind. And also the added time is only going to make it more tender. With chicken, there is a point of diminishing returns there. Eventually it'll get mushy and the texture will not be appealing. And that's kind of the same for everything. Steak, and no matter what, everything has its turning point of where tenderness turns into mushiness. So with chicken breast, I found that I have peace of mind pasteurizing at 140 for 2.5 hours or somewhere in that neighborhood. I feel confident that everything's reached pasteurization and the tenderness is just out of this world. So anyway, guys, that'll wrap it up for this little how I prep some meals or whatnot. And till next time, take care.